For more information on my programs, please visit masajadi.com. That's MASSAJADY.com. Hello, this is Masati. Welcome to my podcast, Exponential Intelligence. This is episode 113, Exponential Intelligence and Islam, part 2. So we'll be talking about Muhammad, his story, the religion he brought in, and then we'll do a meta-healing, like we always do. And this time on the meta-healing we'll bring frequencies of Muhammad, just like we did on the Buddha podcast. We brought frequencies of Buddha in, what his message was, what his true message is. We'll do a frequency on bringing in Muhammad's frequency, bringing his message in, and then we'll do a podcast on Jesus, bringing his frequencies in afterwards on the meta healing, so you can kind of tell the differences on frequencies, although very similar, different flavors of pretty much the same thing. We'll get into that, and the reason why we're doing these podcasts on these great leaders is that it's almost been, say, my mission to find the truth in things, whatever it might be, right? The truth in art sale, the truth in again, the underlying truth or the real reason why things happen. So in religion, really cleaning up, say, these individuals' names, and bringing a higher order or a truer version of what they really taught or brought about. Okay. As a note, I'm not here to defame, okay, abuse, criticize any religion, but think of me as a consultant. Okay? If the church came in, goes, Moss, we're losing members. What's wrong with our organization? Okay? What can we do better? Okay? So where are the key downfalls in the way we work? Just like a company, right? They're losing sales, or they could be better, even if they are increasing, right? Where could they define themselves? Where could they clarify themselves? Where could they help, say, the customer, because the believers are customers, right, of that religion or faith, right? So I come in and just give you, say, the weaknesses. Again, I'm not against any religion, any faith. However, I show you the weaknesses so that practice or whoever teaches that religion can have a better explanation, a truer explanation, or maybe redefining, so it's closer to the actual words of the creators of those religions. As a note, many of the people like Buddha and Muhammad, unlike Muhammad, Buddha and Jesus were not the creators of their religion. Right? Their works, their teachings were collected, and then somebody else turned them into a religion. Muhammad, on the other hand, he actually brought about and wrote the text, which is now called the Quran. And the people of Islam, we'll get into the definitions, called Muslims. So what are people supposed to understand in cleansing themselves before praying to God? That is not reflected in all the rules about what makes one impure. As it was explained to me, e.g. a man touching any woman, even his sick grandmother, makes him impure. Those stories get distorted. When you touch a lot of people, you shake hands with a lot of people in today's society, right? In today's civilized or awakened society, right? You shake somebody's hand, and then I go wash my hands, just because I shake so many people's hands. You never know where their hands have been. Same thing here. Again, that's the truest sense. Okay? However, it's gotten distorted, again, by the culture. and the disintegration of understanding the true role of women. By the way, it's not the true role of women has been distorted not just in Islam. It's in throughout any culture, throughout any religion. As a fact, most of the sexual crimes where they cut out a woman's clitoris not to enjoy sex is in a Christian country, not Islam. So there you go. So, by the way, one question I have about those people who do that to women or their daughters or their wives is that, well, God created the women's anatomy for a reason. Who the hell are you to say this is wrong? We have to cut that piece out so they don't enjoy, right? So understand why God created that in the first place before you make this decision. Just like those people who do ethnic cleansing. Governments go in, they go ethnic cleansing. That's wiping out a race. Again, if God created those individuals on earth, who the hell are you to go, I'm working through, the power of God, and God tells me to do ethnic cleansing on these people. Why did they get created in the first place? You're really not, again, for those individuals or for those governments doing that, obviously you're not connected to the right God. Why or how was sex made impure in Islam? In reality, just like any other trueness of the religion, sex is not impure. Right? It's the closest thing that you can get to a spiritual experience by two people that love each other. And I say two because in a true sense, okay, if you are, say, of a twin flame relationship, you really only need two individuals. And I talk about that in an episode called 50 Shades of Grey. I might turn it into a podcast, so take a look at that. Okay. However, since sex is a great way to control, just like in any other religion, right? It's considered impure, and it's a great way to control, the younger individuals, right? Instead of teaching them about sex, well, you just tell them that, hey, sex is impure, sex is a sin. Unfortunately, as they grow up, sex becomes adulterous or distorted or impure. But consider this, if that's the way sex is perceived, okay, you have a child, unconsciously, that child is created under sin, not the covering of God in its purest sense. So, not the words of any pure religion, by the way. What is your true position on women? The role and position in society? What is it for men? Again, in Islam, women are supposed to be of the most highest standards. They're supposed to be, say, running the system. Okay? Back in the day, just like any other culture, the women stayed home. They ran the home. Okay? A very powerful job. The women would have to, the men created a safety space around, brought in the income. Again, very symbiotic relationship back in the day, just like any other, say religion should be. However, it's gotten distorted. So in short, women hold a high place in society, but over any culture, right, not just any religion, women have been degraded. Wonder why? As a note, we're going to be doing a lot of seminars on bringing out the strong woman. Okay? And by what I mean strong women, I just put a plug in some of the future events that we're doing, is not having, say, male frequencies put into women. That's where a lot of women say, get successful and so on, and then they destroy themselves. This is about bringing in the true feminine frequencies, which are very, very powerful, by the way. Okay? Very different than a strong male frequency, which again, throughout time, has gotten distorted. So not only have women have come to, say, being pushed around or distorted, okay, men have too. Men don't enjoy being men, and then women don't enjoy being women. Okay? So both sexes have gotten very distorted through religion or not. What are the greatest tenets of Islam? That we, Muslim and non-Muslims, could do well to understand and potentially use of our enlightenment, regardless of faith. So let's go through the five tenets, or the five pillars, I believe that they call it in Islam. Belief in Allah as the one and only God. Again, in EI, and we'll just compare it to EI and other, say, major religions or spiritual movements. One source that created all. Now, in religion, you start reading about, God, and then the devil, and then most people think that there are two sources that fight between each other, and then what we're supposed to do is, as good people, there's a war going on, as good individuals, right, we start going towards the side of God and then overtaking the devil, so to speak. And that's how most religions portray it, including Islam. That's not true at all. There's only one God that creates everything. Okay? Reason for bad and good, or the devil and the purity, I explain on another podcast. However, in short, okay, there has to be, say, extremes, light, dark, hot, cold, and so on, for you to define reality or density here. Simple scientific explanations. There is no good, there's no bad. There is in this reality, there has to be, okay, but not the way to define it. What I mean by there is no good or no bad, there's no two separate powers fighting against each other. Right? There's two separate powers, very extreme, coming into balance and harmony with each other, just like we should, and conquering both. So that's one tenet, belief in one God. Belief in angels is one of the tenets. So angels are here. In exponential intelligence, are there angels? Yes. Was it created by God? No. So again, God creates God creates, say, the surroundings or the tools. What do they call that in computer language? God is basically, say, a global setting. Right? So the templates and so on are all there for you, and then you create whatever that you need to help yourself. So if you need an intermediary, right, then through time, and as humans evolved, right, because we are great creators, we can create anything that we need to. Well, we've created the concept of angels, right? And then over time, right, through auric fields, this property gets stronger and stronger, and then well, that angel identity, right, all the angels that are out there, Gabriel, Michael, and so on and so on. Again, not created by God, but through human interaction or wanting that desire, right, to connect to God, having an intermediary. And by the way, I'll tell you my story. It creates an auric field because so many, the word spreads and it creates a presence of its own. So my story connected to pure source after my near death, and it's an amazing feeling, but the power was so intense, the knowledge that I was given was so intense and so high, I couldn't understand it. right? Now, obviously, as I've gotten more spiritually intelligent, I understand the concepts. But as more knowledge comes in, again, more higher and higher knowledge, I need that intermediary, or say somebody that could explain things to me, kind of break it down or dumb it down for me. And again, this is the same story as angels. In my case, my guides are Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, sometimes Abraham, sometimes Ali, and then an alien type individual. Those are my guides. So they came in and started, say, explaining the concepts of higher power, I call pure source. Same thing here as far as angels go. Belief in the holy books. So the holy books, again, I want to emphasize holy books, not just the Quran. So they believe, again, the Muslims believe in all the holy books. So the Jewish book, the Christian book. So it's a compilation of the religions. So people of the book. So this, I believe, is what they say. So, because they're very similar. Belief in the prophets, not just Muhammad, and then not disavowing the other prophets. So again, Adam, Abraham, Moses, David, Isa, which is Jesus, and so on and so on. Okay? Islam believes in all of that. Again, all great individuals who connected to what I call pure source, a higher order. Okay, same vein though. That's why they're all very similar. Belief in the Day of Judgment. Yeah, that's what Islam believes. That's what a lot of religions believe, or even spiritual movements believe. And the Day of Judgment, in EI's perspective, is not that the end of the world, and what happens is that you take a number, and then you get your life review, and then what happens is that you either go to heaven or to hell, depending on how good or bad you were. Okay? The Day of Judgment, the true Day of Judgment, in any religion, if you really read, say, between the lines, okay? And this is the reason why it gets distorted, but let me just finish the thought up, is that the Day of Judgment in exponential intelligence is the end of time. So the original sin is the beginning of time, or how time and space was created in this universe for us to understand the density in this universe, or in this reality. Say it's a 24-hour clock. That's what we're guided by. Okay? Beginning of time, again, the original sin in the religions. The end of time in religions, the Day of Judgment. The end of time is where you awaken, you go back to your original spiritual state. You awaken completely from the distortions of what time and space, say, how time and space affected you. Right? You awaken completely and learn from that and ascend higher. So again, that is the end of time. Again, there's no judgment. To control people, call it the Day of Judgment. Right? And then furthermore, and this is where Jesus had issues, and then also Muhammad. There's back then, there's a lot of illiterate people. So how do you explain these high-level concepts that I have issues with? Right? And we're an educated society. How do you explain it to, individuals who weren't educated? Much worse, they were very, compared to the millions of words that are used today, or a couple 100,000, compared to what, thousands of words back then. Again, the concepts had to stay simple. So you turn it into parables, and that's why Jesus talked in parables, so people could understand what he was seeing, or dumbing it down for those people. Fortunately, those parables became, the words of God in Jesus's construct, or in this case Muhammad's construct. Quite unfortunate. And then the fifth pillar is belief in predestination. Just like any other religion, again, very distorting or wrong definition. If there is predestination, if you think about it, in the Islamic meaning, then why would you have to be good, or why would you have to be bad? You're already predestined, right? So the things that say add up, and this is the Islamic religion, the things that say add up at the end of, or at the judgment day, is already predestined for you. So why do you have to really try to be a good Muslim, or a bad Muslim, or a non-Muslim, or a non-Christian, right? In all traditions, if they're predestined. So, in a sense, obviously, and in EI's perspective, okay, the closest thing to being predestined is that if you are running the same programs, it follows the laws of physics, right? Where it says an object in motion will tend to go in a straight line unless affected by another object that pushes it out of that straight line trajectory. Okay? So this means, like, if you're headed towards hell, okay, well, you're going to go to hell if you keep running those same programs. Simple as that. Okay? Same thing. If you're headed towards, say, unbelievable success, being an alcoholic or whatever, if you keep doing the same things that you did yesterday, today, you're going to get the same results tomorrow as yesterday. It just is. It's just natural, straight physics in this world, straight physics in the spiritual world. Continuing on, does what is happening at this time in existence, the purifying way of awakening, suggest any changes in some of the rules we're told you provided when you were alive? Not exactly. Here it is. In other words, have some of the rules or laws that have been used by Muslims since you walked the earth became outdated, or is it simply their understanding or their application that needs to be changed? Okay. So if you really look at the teachings of any of those, say, great teachers, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, and Moses, and so on, their teachings really are timeless, just like the teachings of exponential intelligence. Right? The distorting factor is when it turns into a religion. Okay? Then those concepts, teachings, through distortion, through miscommunication, through time, gets distorted. They get time bound, and then that's where they get outdated. But the basic tenets, again, timeless, just like information in EI. How can we bridge the divide between Muslims and non-Muslims today? Well, the first tenet in any religious practice or any spiritual practice is a space of non-judgment. So follow your religion's rules, no matter what religion you are, and then don't judge. And then there would be no Muslims or non-Muslims. We'd get along with everybody if everybody practiced their religious tenets. So again, follow your religion rules, and there wouldn't be any differences, really, because there's no judgment. It's really that simple. One thing that I'd like to add, okay, is, and this is what kills me, by the way, and this is the push on Muslims. I'm sure you've heard about the differences, or maybe not the differences, so I'll explain the differences. There's the Sunni Muslim and then Shia Muslims. Right? And a lot of times, well, there's a lot of war between the two. Okay? So, and this is a definition that I got off the internet, so you understand it. Okay? And I'll give you the push that I have an issue with. So the Sunni majority got their way as Abu Bakr, who was some gentleman that brought in or was the first Muslim Khalif, Khalif, and successor of the Prophet. Okay, one of the most crucial differences between Shia and Sunni Muslims is that the importance of this fact is that the Shias give that first Khalifa or successor to Muhammad's nephew, I believe it is. Yeah, nephew, which is Ali, okay? Whom the Sunni do not recognize as being the Prophet's rightful successor. So there's this huge war, and many Muslims get killed over this fact. Okay? The push I have about this is that, Muhammad, brought you all this information. Okay? This happened after Muhammad died, who the successor is, and you guys are fighting between the two sects of Islam. It has nothing to do with Islam. Why don't we follow, say, the 99.99% that you guys have in common, and forget that 1%, okay, that makes you different? There'd be a lot of lives saved. Right? There'd be a lot of happiness that would go around the world. You guys didn't fight over that. Muhammad would be proud of you. Right now, if you really look at it, if Muhammad would be, say, rolling in his grave, being disgusted by how you guys fight between each other, like adolescent children, over this fact. Again, study the 99.99999% of what Muhammad brought about in Islam. Okay? You wouldn't be fighting about this 1.00001%. Like many other religions as well, guys. All the religions. Study and appreciate the differences. Right? And you'll see that all those religions really very simple, very similar. One thing as we end, guys, there's a lot of, say, the ISIS, and then the Wahhabi sect of Islam. Okay? I'm not going to go through the details. It's been a long enough podcast. Okay, but again, the terrorist type Islams, okay, is not part of Islam at all. Not part of the Muslim sect or tradition at all. Not even part of the customs. Okay? This fantastic biography. It's called Confessions of a British Spy. If you want to know more information, I'll just give you a rundown. This is got this from, and I read not all of it, but good enough to be disgusted by it. About 3/4 of the book. I read this. This is a description of this book on Amazon. It's about this gentleman named Hemfer, only one of the thousands of male and female agents employed and sent forth to all countries by this ministry. Okay? Entrapped a person named Muhammad of Najd in Basira, misled him for several years, and caused him to establish the sect of Muslims called the Wahhabi in 1125 or 1713 AD. They announced the sect in 1150. Hemfer is a British missioner who assigned the task of carrying on espionage activities in Egypt, Iraq, Iran, Hijaz, and in Istanbul, the center of the Islamic Caliphate. Okay? Misleading Muslims and serving Christianity by means of the Ministry of British Commonwealth of Nations. Okay? It's an eye-opening book on how, say, the Islamic religion got distorted by the British, namely, I'm sure the Americans as well, to destroy the religion from the inside because they couldn't control it from the outside. Unfortunately, that's where all the terrorists came through. Fortunately, that's where bin Laden came through. The Americans helped bin Laden and then got distorted. Anyway, there's a lot more to say on that, but I'm not going to say it. You can make your own judgment, guys. Thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. We'll jump in. We'll do a meta healing. Let's go ahead and take a nice, again, strong deep breath in, noticing your space, noticing the space around you, and in this meta healing. And a meta healing is where I guide you into a deep state of meditation, beyond hypnosis, beyond NLP, beyond any of the physical things that we do to relax and connect. And then I work on you on your source code, helping bring knowledge of EI, exponential intelligence. And that's where we get the, say, the miraculous type transformations in one's life. Again, noticing your breath, noticing your space, noticing you, whether you're sitting or standing, lying down. For a lot of new people, we get tons and tons of new people listening to the podcast, so welcome. So whether you're new to this or somebody who's been here before, again, noticing the position of your body. For example, the position of your hands, where they are, the position of your fingers, noticing the webbing between your fingers. All this for no other reason but to bring you into the present moment. As we come into the present moment, the awarenesses of time, or the distortions of time, we disconnect from. And we can understand the teachings of these great individuals, no matter what religion was brought about by them, in a higher order. Wonderful breath in again, connecting to the group. I think we've got about 1.2 million people that listen. It's a lot of power that listen to this podcast. Again, that's a lot of momentum that can be created. Since we're all wanting a higher truth, since we're all looking the same direction, creating a lot of momentum, pulling you out of the ruts, the distortions of any religion, including Islam, helping you break through those blocks of any religion, including Islam. Fantastic breath in again. Asking ourselves, how do I connect to pure source even stronger? As a note, not religious. It's not a religious question. It has no faith in any faith that you might be in. It doesn't matter. Again, it's non-religious, non-spiritual. However, how do I connect to pure source even stronger as you analyze each word? Will allow you to understand your religion to a higher order where it actually makes sense to you, and then where you can benefit from it rather than get oppressed by it. As we come into our heart area, the chest, right, the ribs, the sternum bone, the lungs, noticing your shoulders relaxing, getting a little heavier. So I generate those frequencies that help you transform, help you shift. All you have to do is pay attention to the upper section of your body, from the throat down, from the solar plex, right between your ribs on up. Not just the front, right through into the back. Noticing your arms, upper muscles of the arms. So that horizontal section. So you pay attention to that. Bringing a higher order of the true meaning of Islam for you, or Muhammad's intention, whether you're Muslim or not. Noting your breath. Let's go ahead and take that group breath in, inhaling through the nose. Holding it. Releasing, letting go. Noticing your spine. From the top of your spine, right below your skull, right through the neck, the top of the back, your mid-back, your lower back, right down into the tailbone. Continue to work on you, again bringing the truer definitions, void of all the misconceptions. Let's go ahead and take another strong deep breath in, and then count from 32 down to 0. As we count backwards, we go deeper, ascend higher, higher. So we can feel that presence of Muhammad, his teachings. Again, whether you're Muslim or not, doesn't matter. A lot of great teachings we can learn from. If you don't like the teachings, you can do away with them. So bringing in that frequency. Noting the breath, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, going deeper yet, 27, 26, 25, as we slow down time, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. Removing us from the distortions of time as we go deeper yet. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, deeper yet, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Let's go ahead and bring frequencies of Muhammad, his teachings, around you. And as you take another breath in, just for comparison, just go ahead and do this and just note whatever you felt. I'll tell you what I saw. You can compare notes. I don't want to seed you ahead of time. Afterward, so we can compare one logical, say, intelligence, not superstition, right? More of a scientific, fairness, equality among anything that God has created, not just men, women, so which includes women. More of a business sense, again, bringing, say, those concepts of religion into your business or everyday practice, not setting separate. So that's his patterns and frequencies. So we'll move Muhammad aside. Let's go. Yeah. So let's open our eyes just for a flash. Close them. Kind of reset. Similar to a wine tasting. Right? You reset your palate. We'll reset our frequencies. We'll count down from 5 to 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And let me help you bring in the frequencies of true Islam. So the pure intent of Islam, or true, a Muslim, if you practiced Islam the way Muhammad intended it, how you would feel, how you would be. Again, many Muslims, by the way, don't fit this paradigm. Just like many Christians or Jews don't fit that paradigm. If it's insulting to you, it is what it is. I'll just tell you what I see. So again, bringing in the frequencies of a true Muslim practicing the true religion of Islam. How you would feel. Which dictates how you would act. Which dictates how your life or how you run your life. There we go. Strong deep breath in, again inhaling through the nose, holding and then releasing. Again, overall, again, good, righteous person, just like if you practiced Jewish tradition, Christian traditions, and opening your eyes for a flash, resetting your palate, moving that aside for you. And if you're not feeling it right away, again, most of you will, even if you're new, if you're not feeling it right away, keep listening to this and then just not care or don't expect anything, all right? And again, if you're not feeling anything, you run patterns of being fearful, controlled, or controlling. And that's just not for this meta healing, others as well. So for those individuals, Again, keep listening to break free from the distortions that bind you. Just go ahead and take a nice deep breath in again. I'll count down from 10 to 0. 10, 9, 8. As we go deeper yet. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And what we'll do is we'll bring in the definitions of what most people think about Islam, right? Or what you hear on the news or anywhere else, especially if you're of the Western culture or in the US. So we'll bring in those frequencies for you. So you can compare true Islam to the distorted Islam. And as a note, same with true Christianity and then what runs the world today. Same thing with the Jews, Buddhists, spiritual movements. In this case, modern day definition of Islam, and nothing to do with faith, as you can sense. Strong deep breath in, opening your eyes for a flash, again resetting. Hopefully that was beneficial for you. And then you can choose, it's still available to you as long as you stay in this stay quietly meditating. The frequencies of true Islam, frequencies of Muhammad, if you want to experience that more, you can just bring that in, and as long as you stay in this space, you're connected to the mastermind, which will continue that that resonance. Or for those people who are interested, let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. I'll just push whatever frequency that you want. And again, you don't want the distorted patterns of Islam. So between Muhammad and the true definition of Muslims or Islam. You can stay in this space for as long as you wish, as long as you stay quietly meditating, still connected to the mastermind, as I explained earlier. Notice what you notice, and then notice the details of what you notice. As a note, in the near future, we'll be doing a special on bringing in frequencies of top spiritual leaders, their definitions, the true definitions of the religion they brought in, and then today we'll, just like we did here, we'll bring in, say, the major three, and then spirituality movements as well, so you can compare them side by side. Again, we're going to do a special on that, so look for that on the newsletter or on our social media, Facebook. Join us on Instagram, Mas_Sajati, or Facebook. All right, guys, for details. Thanks for being here. Notice what you notice. Till next time, take care. For more information on my programs, please visit massajadi.com. That's MASSAJADY.com. Or join us on Facebook for more information. We do a lot of Facebook Live.